Hello and welcome. My name is Keith Hensley with CoreLogic, and we do these monthly webinars on various topics. Been doing them at least 2 years, maybe 3 years. I want to say about 3 years now. We've been doing various topics, and this actually is one topic that if we have done, it's been a while. It's called adding and editing listings in Matrix. This is something that um, I don't think I do too often. I mean, I know it very well. It's just I don't do a lot of webinars or training on this here. So it's actually kind of good that we've added this here. So I don't know where you guys are at. I mean, I know you're in Florida. I know you're probably in Martin County, Florida, or somewhere around Martin County, Florida. I'm actually in Grand Rapids, Michigan, doing this training. I do come down there once a month. It's usually the last Wednesday of the month. I do in-person training classes, but I also do these live webinars too once a month out there. So it's my pleasure to introduce you adding and editing listings. But what I meant by that, I don't know where you're at. I don't know if you're brand new or if you've been a realtor for a long time. I don't know if you've added listings before or not added listings, things like that. So like I said, ask questions at any time. Just put them in the chat or unmute yourself and ask the questions. I want to make sure all your questions are answered in here today. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and close this down here. And as you can see, we are now live inside of your Martin County Realtors of the Treasure Coast Martin matrix system in Martin County. Excuse me there in Martin County. So what we're going to do is add listings and modify listings. Okay. And if you're okay, I'm going to start with adding a brand new listing, kind of starting from scratch as if you're brand new and you've never done this before. And maybe none of you, maybe some of you have never added a listing there. Okay. And along the way, I'll show you some tips and tricks, how to make sure your listing gets the attention that it needs, because that's what you want. I mean, you're putting it in the MLS to market it. You know, you want other people to see it and stuff. So to get us started to add a brand new listing, I'm going to go right up here to this tab called Inputs. And when you click on Input, you're going to notice listings right up here. Now, I will say underneath listings is a roster section, and under roster, you can type in your MLS ID. Okay, you know, the same one that you log in. This is kind of outside of adding a new listing. Since I'm here, I just want to click on this and just show you something you can do for yourself. You can modify one of your self stuff. You can add your own photos. I don't know if you know this or not, but if you go to manage photos, you can add photos. And this shows to other members inside of Matrix, but it also goes to MLS Touch. I don't know if you've used MLS Touch. It's the app that talks to Matrix out there, and that's where the photo pulls from. So I'm going to hit cancel here, and I'm going to hit cancel again. I just want to show you that that's where you could have added your photos to yourself, but that's in this section here. Okay, this other stuff down below is for me. Actually, I've never seen that there before. I think that might be where you can change your password. Okay, that's something I'm not sure. I've never actually seen that there. So that might be where you type in your user ID, just like I showed you up here, and you can change your password that gets into Matrix. So that might be what that is right there. Okay, so anyways, we're going to focus on this section up here today. That's the section we're going to focus on: adding a new listing and then editing an existing listing. Okay. So before I edit an existing listing, let's add a brand new one and kind of answer some questions as we go through here. So when I click on add new, the first thing it asks me for is what property type. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm choose, is this a residential listing? Is this a income property type? Income, I believe, is like a multifamily, like a duplex or triplex or quadplex. It's where multiple families could live in one building there. Okay, and just to make sure I've got that right, you always want to double check with your broker or call the MLS there, call Martin County. Marisa or Renee or someone could help find that right answer. But typically, that's what residential income is. You also got land property type you could put here, commercial, rental, and then business opportunity. I usually don't get into these other property types. Usually the one I think most of us like to focus on majority of the time is residential property type. So probably throughout the rest of this webinar, if you're okay, I'm just going to stick with the residential property types here. And when I click on it, it takes you to this screen here. And let me kind of explain. There's 3 tabs here. I actually have 4 tabs. Okay, just ignore this last one. This last one is the same as the first one. I don't know why I see it and you don't. So just pretend it's not there. So these are the 3 tabs that we have when you're select to add a brand new property. What it does say, do you want to fill it from realist tax? Now, if you notice up here, you got realist tax and IMAP tax. And public records is actually a realist, but it's inside of matrix, where this realist tax takes you out of matrix. Okay. So we can fill a lot of this data into your brand new listing straight from the tax records. We call it tax auto population, tax auto pop. Okay, what it does, it takes as much fields as possible, and we have it mapped into the listing data sheet, the input sheet inside of matrix for you. And it does save you a lot of time. And as long as people utilize the tax auto population into your listings, into the listings, it keeps things pretty much uniform, like address and cities, and then the parcel ID. The parcel ID is probably the most important thing that we want to keep in a very uniform system there, because it helps with our history of properties there. So we almost always want people to auto-populate their brand new listings straight from the tax records, okay? And then you can see here what counties we have it connected with. We have it, with Broward, Indian River, Martin, Dade, Okeechobee, Palm, and St. Lucie County there, okay? So the only times you probably wouldn't do a tax auto pop for a brand new listing is if, one, it's not in one of these counties here. Obviously, you can't do it. And then 2, if it's a new construction, because new construction, you might have a new construction in Martin County, but it might not be in the tax records yet. So you couldn't auto-populate it from there. So besides those 2 situations, you're almost always going to want to populate it straight from the tax records, and you simply pick the county. Okay. And I will come back to this way in a second here. Okay. So I'm just going to unselect that there. The second way, and I will say, let me, before I talk about this way, I'm going to talk actually the third way here. If you cannot populate it from one of these counties here, or if it's in one of those counties and it's a new construction, you can't find it that way, then you're going to have to go with start with the blank listing. You're just going to have to start with a blank sheet of paper, and you start typing it in and going from there. Okay, that's the long way, and that's what sometimes you have to do there. Okay, so you're either going to populate from tax records or start with a blank sheet of paper and go from there. Okay, but what this middle one is, it says fill from cross property. I kind of wish we would rename it and call it copy. This is your copy button, and you can only copy your listings. Okay, so if you had a listing before and now you got it listed again, okay, maybe you had it, a couple months ago, maybe they took it off the market, or maybe it just simply expired and it sat there and they did some rehab on it and fixed it up, or maybe you sold it, now someone else bought it, and several years later you get the listing again. Okay, the same property again. Well, you can just copy it. Okay, but just remember, it's got to be your listing. So in that case, and in fact, I'm going to show you this way first. I'm going to assume I have a previous listing that I had, and it could be a rental property, because don't you have rental properties in here you could put in here? So maybe you put it in as a rental property, and then 6 months later, a year later, whatever their contract was, they moved out, and now you got to rent it back out again. Okay, so it could be that situation. Nonetheless, it's your listing, and you just want to copy it over from the previous time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this one because, like I said, that's the copy feature, the copy listing. And I'm going to click on that one there. And then, well, you could search for it down here. Okay, and probably the best thing to search for it is just simply typing in the name and or the street number and the street name. And if that's the case, I would take out all the statuses here, because you just want to know, has it ever been listed before? And it was your listing before, so obviously, yeah, you know it has. So just take that out. But the best thing to do you know the MLS number of it? This is probably the simplest one right here. So let's say I do know the previous listing number, is my listing, and all I need to do there to copy it is type it in here. 2003-9413-9413. Okay, you simply type it in. I hope this is not anyone's listing here, because I actually don't have any listings at all, not even previous ones, because I'm a trainer. I work for CoreLogic. It's actually not a good thing for me to actively sell listings out there. So I'm borrowing someone's listing to pretend. So I'm pretending that this was my listing before, and I just want to copy it into a brand new one. So once I type in an MLS number, and like I said, as long as it's your listing before, all you can do is hit fill, and it's going to copy it over. Okay. Now it doesn't look like it copied over, but as I go to the next tab here, general, you can see a lot of this stuff was copied over for me. Okay. It doesn't fill out everything, but as you'll see here, and in all transparency, it was not my listing. Okay. But it did throw my name in here. It's just I have high access level. I'm at the MLS level there. So I'm allowed to copy anyone's listing. I'm not going to submit it though. I'm just using it for demonstration purposes here. But what it's going to do, it's going to throw in as much information as possible in here. Okay, not everything, but a lot of it there. So you can see a lot of this stuff is already filled in for me. Okay, so I can go through this and look at it here, go through and look at some of this stuff. Now, even though it copies a lot of that information, some stuff like listing date, you're going to have to type that in brand new. Okay, it will not copy over the previous listing date or expiration date, or your compensation or listing type, some stuff like that. But if nothing else, it just helps save a lot of time there. Okay, so assuming you go through and fill out the rest of this, which I'm going to show you here in a second, I'm going to just save it as incomplete for now. And then let's say I submitted it as a live listing. Well, once you do that, guess what? I can copy over the photos of that listing too. All I do there is, once that listing is in, whether it's an incomplete listing, which, see, this one is an incomplete, or if it was a live listing, once you have it incomplete or live, then you can go and add the photos to that listing. And then when I go to upload the photos, right here is the way you copy or import the photos from the previous listing. And again, it's got to be your listing, or in this case, my listing. But remember, I have access to everyone's listing. So so you click on that, and then it'll ask you, well, what's the MLS number of that previous listing of yours? Well, again, just like I showed you, you type in that MLS number, 9413, 9413, and hit import, and that previous listing and photos will come over just like that. But like I said, to copy the listing and the photos, it's got to be your previous listing there. Okay, I'm just going to hit cancel here. Okay, and I'm going to go back here. So once again, to copy a listing, you go straight to input, go to add new, pick your property type. Now I think you can do this. I'm going to try this here, because I've always been kind of curious about this, because I sit in Marissa's 101 class for the new members out there, and we're always kind of curious. I'm kind of curious. I think you can do it, but she said there is one situation where you could have one property in two different property types, and that's as residential and if it's rented too. Okay, so that listing was a residential listing, but I'm going to try to put it in as a rental property and see if it'll copy it over. Okay, so I'm going to use that copy feature right here. Type in that MLS number, M 2003 right there, 9413, and copy it over. Okay, I think it did. Okay, see, it's a rental property type, but look at all this stuff here. It pulled over as much as possible into another property type. So you could, let's say I sold this house and it was a listing as a residential listing, but now they turned around and wanted me to list it as a rental property. So I could copy it from one property type, residential, into a rental property type out there. And again, it won't copy over everything, especially from one property type to another property type. It definitely won't copy over a lot of information because they'll probably have different fields in here, from rental property type versus stuff, especially the listing price and things like that, because it's for rent, not for sale. Okay. So I just want to test that one. I was kind of curious if you could do it. And two, for those that do commingle between selling and renting property types out there, you can copy from one to the other there. So I'm going to hit cancel input here. Okay. And I'm going to hit cancel again. Okay. And cancel again. Notice how I hit cancel, cancel, cancel as I backed my way out. I think that's also very important to know whenever you're inputting listings. If you got in there and let's say you got started and then you changed your mind, you know what? I got a meeting, I got to go and all this stuff. Back yourself out, because if you try to log back in, especially on a different device, a lot of times it'll say, you're already in there, sorry, you can't get in there. So, you're already in there. It'll say someone else is in there, but it's really you that's in there. So it's always a good thing to kind of back yourself out if you started adding a new listing. Okay. Okay. Well, that was copy a listing. Well, let's just continue on adding a brand new listing. This time, I'm going to choose residential. This time, I think it's pretty obvious to start with blank one, so I don't think I need to show you that. That one's just, all the fields are just empty here. So I'm going to use fill from real list here. And I'm going to say this property that I've got, the contract for that I'm inputting here is in Martin County. Over here, you type in probably all you really need is the street number, street name. That's it. Okay. You could type an owner's name. Sometimes people go in and try to fill out all this information and then they can't find it. And they say, why can't I find it off the tax records? I know it's there. Well, you're putting in too much information. Less is more. So let's just start with the street number. I'm going to use a different property here, 8516, and hope it's not your house. I just found one in Hobe Sound. So if you live in Hobe Sound, it might be your property here, Palm. Okay, that's all you do. Street number, street name. The street name. Now it's actually Southeast Palm Street. That's not the street name. Street name is Palm. Street type is street. Street direction is south east. So the street name is only Palm. Makes sense? Okay. 8516 Palm. As you see, as Martin here in that, I don't need to type in unit number, zip code and stuff. Now, if it was a condo, apartment complex or something like that, yeah, I might need to type in the unit number because there might be a lot of, units there. So I'm just going to hit search, see what I get. Only found one. I will say if this was an apartment complex there and there was multiple units and I only typed the street number, street name, you would probably see a long list of all 10, 20, 30, 50 of them or however, and you'll all see the unit numbers here and you'll see the owner's name right here and stuff. So even if you didn't type in a unit number, only this number and the name, you'd probably find a long list of them here. And then you can just look over here and see who the owner is. And then once you find the property that you need, right here, just hit fill. Okay. And when you hit fill and see that tax number, the APN number, that's probably the most important thing we're going to copy over into this brand new listing, because that's the secret code, or that's the unique number that will tie it to the history of this property here. Okay, it's the social security number. Like we all have social security numbers. This is it for the property. So when I hit fill, it's going to take that tax information and copy it over into a brand new listing here. Okay. Now, once we're here, you can see, you kind of saw this earlier here. You got all these tabs. You got a general tab. You got a listing agent office tab here. You can see the ones that are in teal. These are the required fields. You have to input at least one item in all of the teal colored ones, or else you're not going to be able to submit it. Okay, these are the required fields. But as you go through this here today, probably one of the biggest tips I want to show you to help market your listing properly and to get most hits out of it. Even though there's some fields in here that are not required, fill them out. Okay, as much more information you put in about your listing, the better chances someone else will find your property out there. Okay, because some people, and believe me, I've been doing this 23 years now, all over the country, actually all over the United States and Canada, teaching this, and I can guarantee you, if you want people to see your listings, don't just stop at the required fields. Throw in as much information, even especially on the non-required fields, as possible there. Don't lie about it. Don't say it has something that it doesn't have, and things like that. Don't lie about it, but as much information as you can, because you don't know how someone across the other part of your MLS location are searching for listings in your area there. They might be using the view field. They might be searching roof materials. They might be searching storm protection or guest house. And if you don't fill it in, they're not going to find your listing if you don't fill in the required fields. But like I said, don't say it's an oceanfront property if it's not. Okay. I think we all agree with that one there. So, be accurate about it, but don't just stop with just the required fields. Okay, that's a huge pain point on all realtors across the country. Is you get agents who don't fill in that much information. That's a huge mistake that realtors make out there. Okay, so yeah, as you see this, as I go tab to tab, the required fields are what you need to do, and just remember, you can save this as incomplete at any time, and come back later and finish it there. Okay. In fact, I will say the system is set up that it auto saves your listing. As you go from this field to that field, it auto saves it behind the scenes. You don't realize that it does it, but it does it for you there. So if something happened and you lost, your battery died in your laptop, and or you got it and left, and next thing you know, you went to lunch and you forgot all about you were inside of this listing here. The next time you logged into Matrix, it would say, hey, we auto recovered a listing that you didn't finish yet. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to discard it? Do you want to pick up where you left off? Or do you want to skip this question and we'll ask you again and again until you say yes or no to that question there. So it does auto save it for you, and it'll prompt you when you relog back in if you forgot to save it there. But it only goes as you go to the next tab, then it saves everything temporarily. As I'm working on this field and filling this out here, if I don't go to the next tab, it doesn't save this tab of what I just did until I move out of it to the next tab there. I hope that makes sense there too. Okay. Now, we all have these tabs up here, except for me. I have the last tab here. It's called Matrix Testing. Because of my access level, I can test listings. I can see if things, how things are working. They give me this extra tab called Matrix Testing, and since I'm testing, want to say yes, this is a test listing. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to here. I just want to make sure I go to this tab and say yes to it, because this is not going to be a real listing out there. I don't want anyone trying to search for it and find this listing that I'm putting here, because it's just for practice here. Okay. So you saw save as incomplete. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and hit save as incomplete here. No, I won't do that yet. Okay, I won't do that yet. I won't hit validate or cancel. If I hit cancel right now, it's basically going to get rid of everything that I put here. Okay, and just basically cancel it out there. And I'm not ready to submit it yet. Coming soon and active. Now, if I change it to coming soon, this column down here, this field is required. Okay, it's not in blue. Okay, it's not in blue. But if I go out to another tab and then come back to it, now it is blue, because I had to kind of refresh it. And now it says, oh, you got coming soon there. You guess what? You got to fill that in. Now you go in here and say what date it's coming soon. And you can read your stuff here about coming soon status. You can see that a listing can be in coming soon status for a maximum of 21 days there. So just make sure you understand the laws, the rules around coming soon listings, and make sure you put that in there. If you have any questions, always call the MLS or ask your broker about it there. Okay. But I'm going to go back to active. And even though I changed it to active, this is not required now. So if I refresh, go out and come back in, you'll notice it's not required now. Okay. So I'm going to leave it at active. And by the way, you'll see right here for more information or to download the form, you can click right there. Okay, that's kind of neat. I've never really noticed that in other MLSs. So you've got your form right there if you need to. So I'm going to go to the next tab called General. And remember, if there's any questions on any of these fields here, feel free. I may not know the answer, but feel free to either type it in the chat or just unmute yourself and interrupt me if you need to, and go from there. There's a parcel ID. Okay, it copied over from the tax records. Then I'm just going to say it's single family. Here's my area. Okay, you can click right here and open this up, and Hope Sound, I think, is 14. Again, do your best to put it in the right area numbers. Okay, if you're a brand new agent and you're not familiar with these, or maybe you're from another MLS like Beaches and you just joined Martin County, you don't know their area numbers like you do with Beaches, definitely ask around or do pull up some other listings on that same street that you've got this in, and see what other agents said for the area number. Okay, because you want to make sure you put it in the right area number. Okay, so I'll pick that one. I'll say okay. List price, I'm just going to have fun with this. It's only $123,456,789. Street number, very important also. Okay, the street name is Palm. Southeast is the compass point or the street direction. Street type is street. So many times people do this. They say the street name is SE Palm. That's not the street name. Or they'll do Palm Street. That's not the street name. Okay. Street name is Palm. Street type is over here. Compass point is there. Very important that you do that there. Okay. And if it did have a suffix on the, that, if there's an area that had it as a suffix instead of a prefix there, unit number, Hobe Sound, Martin County, Florida, zip code, if you know the +4 or the building number, subdivision, always do your best to put the subdivision in spelled correctly. Don't try to abbreviate it and stuff. I think, and there again, check other listings in that same subdivision. See how everyone else inputted the subdivision name. That may, so that way, if there's a common theme to it, yours will be found because everyone else is doing it that way too. You kind of want to, you don't want to be the odd one out and do it differently, because then people won't know how to search for your subdivision there. Legal there. Short sale, yes or no. Some of these fields, I don't know what short sale addendum is here. I would imagine if I said yes to that, that might be required there. So you might want to double check with your broker or the MLS on that field there. Tax year, tax description. Again, some of the stuff I just don't know on here. Okay. Year built, REO. REO is means foreclosure or bank owned. That's what REO is. Is it in foreclosure or is it bank owned property? See right there, real estate owned, bank or lender owned. As this in foreclosure, answer yes. Okay, that's what REO is there. As much as possible. Same thing with the owner's name here. Square feet. Source means where did you get that square feet? In this case, it came from the tax record, the tax rolls, because I auto-populated it. That's where that 1,600 comes. I didn't type it in. Now, if I went out and measured myself, then, you know, I might want to, if I typed it in myself, I don't know which ones I would use here if I measured it myself, I guess. That I don't know. But if it was an appraisal, I would say that. If it came in off the floor plan, I'd say that. Developer, maybe a new construction, I'd say that, and so forth there. Okay. But I think tax rolls would probably be the most common one there. Okay, fill in as much as possible there. Again, just go tab to tab. It does auto save it if you remember. If I had a co-agent here, okay, I've never tried this, but I'm going to see if I can put Renee in here as my co-agent, Renee Jordan. I'm going to hit refresh. I don't know if I can or not. Well, if I don't know her ID, I can hit find co-agent right here. And then I would just type in Renee Jordan. Hit run search. Yep, I found her. She's going to be my co-agent right there. Okay, see how it types her name in there? I'm the agent. She's a co-agent there. So if you don't know their ID there, just like it did mine. See, my ID is a little differently than even Renee's out there because I work with CoreLogic and mine's coming in behind the scenes. That's how I get into Matrix here. Okay, so it copies all this over. Type in your list date. You can just use the calendar there. I don't want to go through all these fields, so I'm just going to throw something in here. Okay. Okay, most of these fields here, I'm not going to type any of this stuff in here. I think I'm going to try typing in some multiple fields here. Okay. And I think a lot of this you can throw in more options. Okay. Put in all the ones that pertain to it. Internet. Do you want it to go out on the internet? I think most of us would, yes, we do want it to go out the internet to those other sites like realtor.com and Zillow. I think we do want that there. Allow AVM. That's the automated vet. That's like the Zestment and stuff. I don't really know if you say no to this. Oh my. Yeah, you might want to double check with, and that's something I should have maybe talked with Marisa there at the MLS just to go over to make sure I understand all this. I do know display address if you set to no, but see here it says selecting no. I think it says no on that first one there. I think it's if I set that first one to no, the rest of these will be no's. So I think I could say yes, but then no to the rest of these here. Allow blogging, allow address display. There again, you might want to just double check if you're not sure with one, your broker, or two, Marisa at the MLS there. Okay. Internet, Florida Properties, realtor.com. If internet, yes, choose options. I would imagine you could choose both. I actually, since this is not a real listing, I'm actually going to say no to this here. Okay. Just to make sure I'm not going to submit this. Okay. But just to make sure something falls through, I don't want no one calling me up and asking me about this property for sale for $123 million here. Okay. Virtual tour. Okay. Hopefully you know what a virtual tour is, but there's two types of virtual tours, a branded and a non-branded. The branded obviously would have your name and company name and phone number, contact information. So if you ever do get a virtual tour, make sure you put the unbranded link here and put the branded link here. Okay, so if you do have virtual tours, you usually are given a website address, and they're typically given two, a branded and unbranded. Just make sure you put it in the appropriate one here. Okay. Showing assist secure instructions there. I think that's just you're showing. Yeah, see some of this I may not be too great at helping you know the answer. This is not a required field. Front exposure, which way does it face? I think that's what this is saying. Does it face the north, south, east, or west? I know to some people, that's a very important field that they want to know, when they look out in the morning, do they want the sun coming in or do they want the sun coming in from the west, in the evenings there, or do they want north and south? I live up in Michigan. That's very important because of the weather, and snow. We want things usually facing north, I think it is, because the sun is more in the south and it helps melt the snow on our driveway. I learned that several years ago. I didn't really think about it too much there, but still there's some cultures that really matters what way the house faces for feng shui. I think it is there and stuff, but little things like that, you don't think that's important, but to some people it could be a very important piece of information, and if you don't fill it out, you might potentially lose out on a sale. So just saying, just keep that in mind. In here, still as much as possible, construction type restrictions, amenities there. Don't lie about it, but fill out as much as possible when it comes to these fields here. Even though it's not required, still fill it out. Parking description, I think, is a big one that a lot of people don't do. They'll say it's attached garage, and they'll leave it at that. Okay, but they won't go in and say anything more about this property here. Okay, they won't say it's 2+ spaces in here. Really, is that it? Or just trying to see here. Okay, so keep that in mind. Even if it's got a garage door opener, that could be I think I saw opener in here, didn't I? Open? Is that open parking? That might be, I might be thinking of a different field here, but opener, yeah. Okay. Lot size or lot description. That could be important to some people. They like to see this. That would really help them to know. Pets allowed, security, private pool, waterfronts. Like I said, as much as you can, don't just stop with just one field in there, one selection. If you can pick 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 options in there, do it. Okay. But don't lie about it. Make sure it's legitimately accurate there. Okay. Equestrian. Okay. Horses. Okay. I don't usually see that a lot of times in MLSs there. So that's kind of interesting to see there. Interior. Here, we got all this stuff here. Again, do your due diligence and say as much as possible about it. And don't just stop at the required fields. Throw in as much as possible there. Rooms. Okay. When I get into rooms, you can see a number of bedrooms. We'll say 3, but it possibly could be 4 maybe. Okay. Make sure you know your rules and regulations on that stuff there. Fill this out. Bathrooms, we'll say 2, and 0, we'll say. Now watch this. Rooms. I'm going to pick one room. I'm going to say bedroom 1. Oop. Bedroom 1. It's on the first floor. Even if it's a 1-story house, still say main floor. Okay. A lot of people think, duh, it's a 1-story house, so of course it's on the main floor, so I don't have to say this. In fact, I'm going to leave it blank. I'm kind of curious, is this a required field or not? Okay. And look at the room length and width. I'm going to hit more, and then I'm going to say bedroom 2. Then I'm going to say more. Then I'm going to say, let's see here, what else can I say? Family room, more. Next, living room, more. What else can, kitchen? I'm going to say kitchen here. Okay. Then I'm going to say more. Okay. What I'm doing this for, because I'm going to validate here in a minute. I'm going to see if there's any rooms that need to be have length and width and room level in here. I'm kind of curious. Okay. So because it's not in blue. So, but still, just because it's not in blue doesn't mean it'll stay that way, because sometimes it needs you. Some rooms might be required that you do, and some may not be, and you'll see here in a second. So condo, mobile home. So if this was a residential, but it's a condo or mobile home, that's when I'd fill this out here. Okay. I think back here under general, if I had said, or maybe it's the next field there. Yeah, I think it's the next. Oh, no. On my cursor, there we go. It's under this right here. If I had said under here, no, it's not here either. It might be under the listing agent office right here. Let's see here. There was one that asked me if it was this, what type of property type. I thought it did. Back to general here. Yeah, oh, duh, right here. Okay, condo, mobile home, factory. So if I had picked that or that, then I do need to pick that field. Okay, fill those out. But since I said single family or townhouse or villa, then I don't need to fill this out. I hope that makes sense there, because it's not a condo or mobile home. But back there, if I had said it was, then I would need to fill this out. Okay. Community. Make sure there's nothing else I really need to make sure I talk about here. Okay, I want to go back to the mapping of the listing. Okay, I'm going to go back to general here. Now, when you auto-populate it, or when I auto-populated this, street number, street name, sometimes you don't see the map on there at all, but as I've been going through other tabs and then I came back to it, you notice it did map it for me, or it thinks it mapped it for me. This is another huge piece of a tip or trick for you. Make sure it's mapped right. Okay, please make sure it's mapped right, because people are searching by the map. They're using the MLS Touch app on their mobile devices all the time. And if your property is not mapped right, it won't find it there. So it's very, very important that you map it right. So once you put it in there, it tries to do it. What I would do is right here where it says get lat long manually, click it and see if that's correct. Now you can zoom out a little bit, see the plus and minus. You can zoom out just to make sure it's right, but I want to show you something here. It's got the realist tax information behind the scenes. So what you could do is just click on this little square, just a left click, and it'll tell you the owner's name. Is that the right property? 8516 Southeast Palm Street. There's the owner's name. And I'm not sure, I can't remember who. Okay. And watch this. You hit lot dimensions. It'll actually tell you the lot dimensions too. But if that's not right, let's say it's this house over here. When you click on it, it'll tell you who owns that property. And this one had been listed before. Okay. Or maybe it was this one across the street here. There's the owner's name. So even if it does try to, and sometimes it'll put that little pin in the middle of the street too. So I would always put it right on top of the house. In fact, you can change the map to a satellite view. This way, you know this is their house because they don't have an orange roof. They have that roof, and they have a swimming pool. So you know it's not that house. Now it could be this house here, but they don't have a horseshoe shaped driveway. They just have a straight driveway. Okay, so you could do it like that. Worst case scenario, it didn't map it right. So what you could do is, let's say it's way over here. Let's say it really got it off and it's down here somewhere. What you could do is say place new pin and click where it does need to go. Okay. Now it wasn't mapped wrong. I don't think it was mapped wrong. I think it was mapped right. So I'm just going to hit reset, but you can that easily remap it if it needs to. Okay. So once you get it mapped, and like I said, I'd even put it on top of the house if you can, and then say done. That's the first thing. Okay. Even if someone else in your office adds your listings for you, come back and check it yourself to make sure it's mapped right. Because whether you can actually go in and remap it after they add the listing for you, or you can go back to them and say, hey, it's not mapped right. Can you map it correctly? I'll stand here with you and I'll show you where it should be mapped at and map it. Make sure it's mapped right. Okay. After it's mapped right, try this. Try the Google Street View. Sometimes you can do it. Sometimes Google Street View is not available. Okay, like in gated communities. I know a lot of times in gated communities, the Google Street View isn't available because Google's not allowed in that gated community. Okay, so with that said, if I hit Google Street View, first make sure it's mapped right. Once it's mapped right, then hit Google Street View. If that is grayed out, that's telling you that Google wasn't able to get that property on the street view. Okay, so if that's ever grayed out, that means you can't do it there. Okay, so once I do this, now I can look at the Google Street View and look. When I first pulled that up, it was like looking at this. So you can fix this view, because if another realtor logs in and they take a look, they might be confused. Wait a minute, is it that house there? Or I don't know, or is it this house? Or is it this house? You know, which house is it there? Okay. So this is where you can go in and fix it and get it set up just right. And sometimes you might have a big bush blocking your view. Okay. So just remember, you can kind of scoot down the street a little bit here and get it on a better angle here and get it set up just right. In fact, sometimes you can even zoom in a little bit if you need to. I think that one was okay if I zoom back out a little bit. And I think it was okay if I came back out, but sometimes it's blocking the front door there. So try to think about that, okay, and get that set up right. But once you get the view you like set up, hit OK. Now when not just other agents look at the map and the street view, but even their clients who look at it, they'll see the better street view of your property there. Okay. Another thing that this kind of adds value to your property there. Okay. You're fixing it there, not just mapping it, but you're fixing a street view there also. Okay. Okay, let's move on. I think pretty much, I mean, of course, put your remarks in there. We do have spell check. So if you say, this is a great, you'll see how it underlined this. If I right click on it, it does have spell check there. Okay, so it does fix that stuff there. Okay, fill it as much as you can. Now, if I try to submit it, what it's going to do if I try to submit it, it's first going to validate it. And if it passes that, then it's going to make it a live listing. Okay. So before I go that way, even if I think I filled everything in correctly and I'm ready for it to go live, I still would validate it first before submitting it. Okay. Validate, watch this. It's going to go through and see if I filled everything in right. And I didn't. Look at all the error messages, all the fields I forgot to fill in. That's what validate does. So if I go back here and look at all these errors, obviously I knew about those because I didn't fill them in. But there were some fields I think I actually typed in a couple fields. Okay, see there how I typed in several options there, and look, it took them. Okay, I didn't get an error message on those. So those I didn't get an error message, but these I did because didn't fill it in right. So that's your little tip there. It kind of shows you. And then if I fix it and I go to validate again, see that error goes away. You'll also see the error message right here too. There's all my errors. Okay. And continue. Okay. That was just a warning there. Just a warning that my expiration date was tomorrow. The listing date was today. It's within 30 days. It's just let me know just to make sure. Did you mean to do that? So it's this kind of alerting you there. I'm going to hit close there. Okay. So if I hit submit, guess what? It's going to do the same thing. It validates it first, but just be careful with submit because if everything was filled in, this would be a live listing right now. Okay. Now I could hit save as incomplete. If I do that, I've got some time. I think you get 7 days. No, wait a minute, right here. Incomplete listings will stay in the system for up to 30 days. So this incomplete listing, that will be its MLS number. Okay, it will be its MLS number. So I've got 30 days. I can go back out. And then if I ever go back to input, it's going to be right here. Okay, and you can see I started that one earlier. I means it's incomplete. A means it's active. AC active, under contract. PC pending, conditional. I forgot all of your statuses there, but same statuses that you have there. Okay, so all you have to do is come back, just click on it, opens it right back up. Okay, then I can go right back to residential, that top one, and it takes me right back to all those tabs there. Okay, now I'm going to hit save as incomplete again because I want to show you something I could have done. Once I saved it as incomplete, even though it's not a live listing, look at this. I can go and add my photos and I can add the attachments or documents or supplements there. So now I can go and say add documents or I'm sorry, add photos. This, oh, I pulled up one I started doing earlier. Let me hit cancel here. Let me hit this other one here. Let me go back. I think it's the second one I wanted to do, this one here. Okay, and open it up and then save as incomplete. So if I hit photos here, it says, okay, you can add photos. So I already showed you how to copy photos. This right here, watch this, browse. When you go to browse, you can upload photos. Now I'm going to pull down some photos here. I'll just pull pictures of my house here. You can hold down the control button and pick as many proper photos you want. Hold down the shift key and hit the last, and it picks everything from that one. So let me pick the first. Hold down the shift, picks everything in between. Then you hit open. And as you can see, how many photos can we upload? It actually says we want large photos. And see all the red dots around this? It's telling me that those red dots outlined in red are lower than recommended. We'll still take small photos. So that's what this is saying. They're small photos. So we actually do want larger photos. Okay. In fact, I don't know, there probably is a size limit, but it's been a long time since I've seen anyone hit that size limit there. You can upload 85 more. So it looks like about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 95, no, 100 photos you can upload. Okay. So here's the next thing I want to really tell you. One, you can grab these photos and drop them where you want them to go. Okay. So let's say that's my guest house. Oop, right here. That's where my guests stay. This is my house. That's the guest stays. That's where the kids stay. That's my security system around the property there. Okay. So one, you can rearrange them here. But second, you can add a caption here. Please do this. So if I come in here, I can say that is the front of the structure right there. Okay. Then if I click on it, see the description, but you can open it up and no, that's not my house. I wish it was, but put a description there. Every photo, let me hit cancel here. Every photo, you can put a description in there. Okay. So do yourself a favor, and especially if you got a property, if you're looking at the kitchen and you see it's granite countertops, it's newly been replaced and stuff, type that in there because other clients will see that description when they look at those photos. So use your marketing skills and go in and type in some more information on every photo that you can. Okay, maybe not every photo, but try yourself, but also do the caption here. Maybe that's, here's the aerial view. Let's say that's the aerial view. Here's the dock view. Well, we'll say dock. Okay. So swimming pool, bowling alley. I don't think we have a field called bowling alley, but oh well. Okay. So really do that. Put captions, arrange it in the order that you need it to go. Here's another thing I didn't really notice until my wife and I were looking for houses, and it bothered me. And I have talked to realtors since then, and it's a huge turnoff. Put your photos in a logical order. Okay. Because when we were looking at photos, we were upstairs, downstairs, inside, outside, and we were just bouncing around. We couldn't get a rhyme and a reason to the flow of this house. And that bugs a lot of clients out there. So just another little tip to consider and ask others. Okay, don't just take my word for it, ask others. But you want the outside of the house, and then you walk in the house, and then you're in the living room, and make a logical flow to it. And then you're downstairs, then you're outside, then you're whatever. But try not to bounce around too much on your photos. I know they're just photos, but you're still kind of walking through that house virtually. So really pay attention to the orders and the flow of the property there. Okay. So that's your photos. I'm going to hit certify and save. And now my photos. Now this listing was still incomplete here. And I know I only got about 6 minutes left in this, so we might be a few minutes late, but if you can, stick with me. So you can always come back later and modify them, rearrange them, and add stuff. Remember, it's an incomplete listing, so you could do your rearranging and your descriptions on each photos a little later too if you need more time. You can come right here and add your attachments to it there. Same thing here. When I say choose file, it's going to ask me where are those documents at. So I'm going to go to my computer and try to find some here. I think I put them under, I just got some sample ones here. So let's say, I love floor plans, you guys. I think a lot of people love having floor plans. So if you got floor plans, upload them. There, hit open. But don't just put it there, put a description here. Actually say it's lead base paint, okay? And then upload it. And then add another one here. say it's property disclosure form or whatever it is. Okay, make sure you give it a description here. Disclosure form. Okay, and then upload here. Once you do that, you've got it there. Type and do the type also. Seller disclosure. Oh, that's lead-based paint, isn't it? With that, I think that would be that one. And this one would be seller disclosure there. And then hit save there. Okay. Let's move on. Add edit photos. I could say continue editing, and that just takes me right back in to that. You know, one thing I did forget to check. I want to go to rooms. Remember all those rooms I put there? Apparently, you do not need a level or the length in there. Okay. But like I said, please, even if it's a single story house, do this. Okay, because you don't know how many times people are looking for a bedroom on the first floor, because they don't care if it's a 2-story or 1-story, as long as the bedroom's on the first floor. And if you didn't say it was on the main level, they won't find your house, even though it's a single story house. That, I think, is another huge thing. People think, hello, it's a single story house, so obviously you may not want to put the length in, you may not want to measure the rooms. I still would do it. I still would encourage you to do it, but at least do the level. Okay, at least do the levels there. And then let me hit validate here. Okay, and it took. Okay, so it's all good. Okay, save it as incomplete. Okay, so once again, I'm going to go back to input right here. This is now we are editing listings. Okay, I don't think you'll ever need to hit that button there. That's for me, that's for the MLS people. I don't think you'll ever need to type in an MLS number there either, because if you have access to editing the listing, it's going to be under quick modify. And if it's not under quick modify, then chances are you don't have access to edit that listing. Okay. So if you come in here, now you pick the listing you need to modify. So I pick the one I need to. Okay. Let's pretend it's already active. If it's already active, this is where I go to change it to pending with contingency. That's where I go to change it to active under contract. That's where I change it to cancel. But please do not cancel listings without your broker's permission. You've got to have your broker's permission before you cancel, because it's not your listing, it's your broker's listing. Okay, you've got to have their permission to cancel listings. Okay. Same thing with temporary off market. If you temporarily want to take it off market, that's fine. But there's all your statuses there. If I need to change the price, let me pull up a listing that's already in the system. In fact, watch this. Let's say I've got a listing and it's expired. Okay. Well, first of all, if it's expired, you know what? I kind of stand corrected. If I have a listing that just expired, if it's within 7 days, I can go in and extend it again, because maybe I got the contract extension. By the time I got back here to fill it, it was too late and it just expired. This might be one time where you might need to go right here and type in that MLS number. Okay. 6963, 6963. And I hope this is not your listing, because I just found one that just recently expired. So you type in your listing that just expired, as long as it's within 7 days. And what you can do is change it to active right here. Okay, because see, it's expired. So then you'll go right up here, change to active, and then you'll put in your new expiration date. But you got 7 days to do that there. I'm going to hit cancel input right there. Okay, just want to show that there. Hit cancel here. Okay, so that's one example where you might need to type in the MLS number. Other than that, right here is where you click on it to modify, to change the status, change any of the information, add photos, take away photos, change them, move them around. If you need to edit, go in here to change things around, and or add documents, or put your attachments in there. Manage showing time. I don't have any access to that, so you'll need to play with that on your own, because it's not our product there, showing time. So that's where you'd go in and set up your showing time there. We're almost done, you guys. I know a lot of you's got to go. And if you do, that's fine too. Okay. Up and coming classes, Renee. Yeah, thank you. Matrix 101 and 201. Yeah, I'll come back to that in a second. Thanks, Renee, for that there. I'll hit cancel. I'd like to show you reverse prospecting. I don't know if you guys know about reverse prospecting. I think I covered everything on this list here. Do you guys know what reverse prospecting is? That's what I want to say. As long as you have an active listing, or yeah, an active listing, you can see how many hits are on your listing. Do you know that? Okay. I'm not going to show it to you inside of Martin County. I'm going to log into another MLS up in Dayton, Ohio. I'm actually from Dayton, Ohio. So where is this listing? Right here. Okay. So first, let me go back here. You're going to find it under My Listings. This is where reverse prospecting is at. Okay. This is where you find out how many hits you have on it and so forth there. You're going to go to My Listings. Okay. Now, I don't have any listings, but I am logged into to an agent in Dayton, Ohio, who gave me permission to show this off. So when you go to My Listings, and this agent has 4 listings, okay? See my active listings. But if you change this up here to a thing called hit counters, just remember you've got to have active listings or else you can't see this here. Once you go to My Listings here, these are your active listings. Here's your hit counters. Let me explain what these numbers are to you, okay? Because this is information you're going to want to go back to your sellers and explain. You're doing your job. It's getting attention. People are seeing it. If there's no offers coming in, then chances are the house is either overpriced or it's in bad shape, okay? So when you come in here, the first one called client portals, and it tells you right here the number of portals your listing has reached by direct or auto emails. Okay, so it's been sent out. It's sitting on 439 client portals out there. But just because it's on these client portals doesn't necessarily mean the clients have seen them. The next one means 225 client views. Client views means the total of full displays. Okay, not just, see, it's sitting on a client portal. It might be one of 10 properties. Okay, that's not really a view. That's client portals. That's what this first number is. It's on their portal, but this number means someone, 225 clients out there actually clicked on it, looked at it. That was the only house they looked at. That means they must have been interested in that one property on Village Court there. So they looked at it. That's a legitimate hit right there. Okay, client views. Sitting out there 439 times, but 225 times someone actually, that number could, and I'm going to see if there's any number higher. This number could be higher than the numbers because someone could come back and look at it day after day after day. One client could look at it 3 times or 4 times. So that number could be higher than that. Client favorites, that's really, if you've got some client favorites, even though it's 3, client favorites is huge because that means how many clients have saved us as a favorite property there. Possibilities, a lot of people don't save it as a possibility, but favorites, very important there. Even though it's a low number, very good chance someone liked it. It's been sent out on 474 auto emails, which means it could be sitting on the same client's portal a couple times in 2 or 3 different searches there. So that auto emails means how many auto emails are out there in Matrix, all over, you know, Matrix, and that's how many times it's been sent out. That's a lot of, that's out there a lot. That's some good attention right there. So I'm kind of curious, and that's just been since September 2nd. So that's, to me, that's pretty impressive on there. That's some good numbers there for such a short period of time. The last 14 days, it's been viewed 81 times. Okay. Agent published, that's the concierge part of the auto email. That means it's been approved by the agent 2 times on auto emails in the concierge mode and rejected 8 times. And this is how many agents have viewed it inside of Matrix. Now, if I click on that, it's not going to tell me who those people were. Okay. But this just kind of shows you how you can view this here. So it's just some neat stuff. But that's still not auto reverse prospecting. That comes once I click on this number right here. Once I click that, Oh, I'm sorry. Let me no. Shoot. How do I get back there? If I check mark it right here, then right here. So you got to check mark the listing you want, and then if you hit reverse this is reverse prospect. And what does reverse prospect means? It means it's my listing, but I can see how many other agents have sent it to their clients. Okay. So my listing on, that's a MLS number. It's on 604 Village Court. Remember, I'm in a different MLS here, but these are all the realtors. Michelle, I might see Michelle's name in here several times. Michelle might have several clients. Let me see if I find another one here. In fact, let me sort it by agent name here. Let me see if I get any duplicate agents. See, Adriana, she's got 2 clients. See the reference number? Those are 2 different clients of hers. Okay, I don't know their names. I don't know Adriana's clients' names, but she's got 2 of them. One, this property was part of 108 properties that was sent. Mine was 1. There was 108 total sent to that client. This one here, my one property was part of 261 properties. So to me, mine is just one of 261 properties. I don't take much consideration on that one there. I'm going to go back to count right here. This is what I want. Look at the count, 32, but look at the heart. Michelle has a client who I don't know their name. It was my property is one of 32 that was sent to her client on September 2nd, and that client saved it as a favorite. I might want to reach out to Michelle. That's her email address. That's her phone number. In fact, if I click on her name right here, I can send her a message. Hey, Michelle, I noticed your client saved as a favorite. Can you tell me more about it? And that would go back to her. She would receive an inquiry from me, and I'm pretending to be Mike Seagraves, by the way, because it's my listing. And then Michelle could respond to me, say, "Oh yeah, they liked it. In fact, they want to go see it tomorrow." In fact, I might have already heard from Michelle. You know why? Michelle might have already contacted me about showing it to her client. Or she's shown it to her client there. So if it's a favorite, I may have already heard from these realtors because their client saved it as a favorite. Look at this one, 4. Their client did not save it as a favorite, but it was one of 4 properties that was sent to Roxanne's client, 74796. So I could click on this and send a message to Roxanne. Hey, Roxanne, I noticed you have a client that was sent my property. I'm just kind of curious. Just to let you know, we're about to put new carpet in the house because we've been getting a lot of complaints about the carpet being dated and stuff. But we just want to let you know we're about to do that, and we're about to reduce the price by $1,000 too, or a couple $1,000. Just so you know, just so you can reach out and let your client know that. Okay, because that was one of 4. But some of these other clients, way down here, that was sent. My listing was just one of 867. They would just send a mass group of listings to that client. So I don't think they're really that interested in my property there. But up here, I think they were. Okay. And see this column pre-approved? You'll see a check mark here once in a while. Linda's client is pre-approved, or according to Linda, they're pre-approved. So that's kind of nice that they're pre-approved. So, maybe reach out to them there. Okay. So it's kind of a cool field. It's under My Matrix, My Listings. And as long as you have active listings, you can go to My Hit Counters. You can see how many hits. And if you check mark it, you can go to Reverse Prospect. And by the way, do you know you can share your listing on Facebook or social media? You can check mark it, hit the share button, and it should give me a URL. Now remember, I'm in Dayton here. And then all I have to do is copy that URL and paste it on Facebook or paste it on Twitter or whatever social media site I do. Okay. Okay, well, thanks for sticking with me. I know we went 10 minutes longer. Hopefully you found this beneficial. Please reach out to me or Renee or Marisa, and they can get you in touch with me if you have more questions. Remember, I do these classes once a month, different topics. Next month, we are doing a Managing Clients in Matrix class. Okay, that's on October 10th at 2 p.m. But I will be there on September 27th in person. I'm doing a 101 class, 3-hour CE class that you can take. And then in the afternoon from 1 to 4, I'm doing a 201 class. It's Wednesday, September 27th, three credit hours for each of those classes there. Okay. So hopefully you guys can either make one of those in-person classes on the 27th or come back next month on Tuesday, October 10th at 2 o'clock. And we'll do another webinar. Okay. And bring your questions with you too, if you have questions for me. All right. Well, thanks you guys. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for sticking with me, and hope your week's going good. All right. Take care. Bye.